Welcome back to The Person Everyone Needs. I'm your host, Webb Hoggard, and today we're talking about the second thing that I would encourage you when it comes to goal setting. Last week we talked about the importance of having dreams, writing down those dreams, believing for them, walking toward those dreams. One of the phrases I've said often on this podcast that I didn't really say last week, and I wished I kind of had, was create a finish line for yourself, or the way I'd say it is Habakkuk chapter 2. It says, find the vision, write it down, make it plain so the young man can run after it. So whoever you are today, if you have a big dream in your life, write it down. Put it on the rear view mirror on your car so you can see it every day. Put it on the mirror in your house. When you wake up in the morning, remind yourself, this is what I'm running for. This is what I'm going to. This is why I'm exercising. This is why I'm eating well. This is why I'm taking this extra class. This is why I'm studying. This is why I'm taking this job in the meantime, because I know that what I'm really trying to get to, this is that direction. And so if we keep our direction in the right place, we're going to be better off all the way on the journey. I think a reason this is such a big deal to me is because years ago I heard the phrase, direction, not intention, determines your destination. Direction, not intention, determines your destination. You're not going to find yourself somewhere because you wished it. You're going to find yourself somewhere because you drove that direction. So I want you to dream big. I want you to dream big dreams for those around you, for your community, for the rest of your life. And then I want you to actually begin to drive in the right direction to get to where you're hoping to. So as we keep on moving, today's podcast is probably the reason that I'm even doing this series at all. This might be the most important part of this little 4-week series, but you want to not only set big goals, but you also want to have a goal breakdown. One of the most important things that I do in my life is I take complex and large concerns and I find a way to break them down into manageable, easy to maintain segments. I find a way to kind of make the larger goal or organizational decision, and I find a way to make it bite size for the most amount of people that need to do it. So I even did some study on this, and there really isn't as much information on it as I was hoping, but I was wondering about how does science decide how to reduce a sample size? Like when it wants to really understand something in a greater sense, they have to take a sample size, and they do a study on that sample size. So obviously the problem is if you do a test on just the sample size and not whatever it is they're testing as a whole, you're not usually going to get the most accurate information, but you could get a pretty good picture of what it is. I was reminded when I was in college of the analogy that is given often in religious conversations. It was the 5 blind men that found an elephant, and one of the blind men, as he walked up to him, he said he grabbed the trunk of the elephant and he said, "Oh, the elephant is like a serpent. It's long, thick, and it's flexible, so an elephant is like a serpent." The next guy went and grabbed the leg, and he was like, "No, it's like a tree. The elephant is like a tree." Another one leaned up against the belly and said, "Oh, an elephant is like a great wall. It's a very sturdy, strong, big wall." Another one grabbed the tail and said, "Oh no, the elephant is like a rope. It's a rope. It's a small rope." And then another one grabbed the ears of the elephant and stated that it was like, I can't remember what that one was, but it was, obviously something very different. Let's say a flat balloon. I don't know. But somebody grabbed that one, and there was no. So they're all like talking about what the elephant is, and the truth is none of them know what it is because you have to take the thing as a whole. But when it comes to accomplishing great things in your life, yes, you do need to know what the dream is as a whole and how those things connect together and how those things build on one another. But the best thing for you to do is to break those things down into very easy to do every single day type things so that you can continuously build that direction. So what are some of the ways we do that? Let me give you a few different illustrations on how that might work to reduce the portion size so that it will make it be a little bit easier for you to handle. If you ever listen to any financial information, Dave Ramsey is one of the gurus to listen to. He's phenomenal in his wisdom in the area of money. Now, one of the things that he teaches big time is that if you're in debt, get out of debt. And he said the best way to get out of debt is to choose whatever is the least amount, whatever the smallest amount of debt that you have attack that with voraciousness. To whatever you do, sell everything but the kids to get that smallest debt taken out of the way. And then once you get that debt taken out of the way, then you move on to the next one, and you use the money you were using for the smallest debt to help you tackle the next one. And his whole point is, if you will not try to fix all of the debts at one time, but you start taking them over one by one, you'll have enough energy to start seeing these things rack up. You'll get some wins in there, and you'll get excited about the whole thing. So debt is an area in which you can figure out, like, if you'll get started on the smallest one, you can start seeing, because you have broken it down into easy points or easy, events or whatever, then it gets better. Here's another one. Food. So if you like to be, if you want to be on a diet, or if you want to go on one of these, programs now where you're taking a shot or whatever, yeah, there's a way to lose weight. But if you're just trying to become a more healthy person and not with having, any type of prop-ups, one of the ways to do that is you decide for yourself what is the right foods to eat, and then manage how much of those things, other than those things, to not eat. I know that sounds so simple, but isn't this the problem that most of us have? Doesn't our minds tell us that whatever we want is okay, and most of the time, however much of it that we want? But I found for myself that when I was in my journey, I found for myself that if I could start substituting better decisions, those things seem to compound. When I started going to the gym and I'd come back, I no longer wanted to follow up a gym experience with a Hot Pocket. I started wanting to eat leaner things, maybe even healthier things. And so as I was starting to see some progress in my weight loss, I changed what I drank. I no longer drank coffee that was full of sugar and creamers that are full of sugar. I stopped drinking regular sodas. For a little time there, I stopped drinking soda altogether, which was a huge deal for me, and because I grew up and that's what you drink. So there's a lot of things like that I had to start letting go of, and those substitutions became easier and easier for me, because as I broke down what it really was, is it better to drink a Coca-Cola or to eat a donut? When I learned that it was better to eat a donut than to drink a Coca-Cola, that was an easy decision for me. When I learned it was better to eat a donut than to fill up my coffee with creamer, and I know what you're saying right now is like, whoa, you shouldn't have a donut. Hey, I get it. But little by little, I was able to make a little decision, a little better decision each day, and it started to compound into something greater. If you can just make the little decisions a little easier on yourself, and it's going to take some research, it's going to take some planning on your side. Let me tell you something different, your devotion life. So I know you probably want to be close to Jesus. You want to be close to God. And so you say to yourself, I should be praying every day for at least an hour. Hey, that is wonderful for you to dream that way, but not many people have the room and the margin to do that. If you're doing that, God bless you. Keep rolling at it. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited. But don't allow the stress of not having an hour keep you from doing 10 minutes, to keep you from 15 minutes. Maybe you're doing 15 minutes a day, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're not doing anything. What if you just got up in the morning and you told the Lord, I'm going to give you 15 minutes, Lord. I just want to say I love you. You get your gratitude journal out. You write some thoughts to the Lord. You dream up the day, and you begin to believe for better. So that's what I have done in my life, is I have to make little games out of getting better. So I like to read books. I like to be smart. Let me say it this way. I like to be intelligent. So I read a lot of books in an attempt to be that. But I don't naturally enjoy just curling up with a book and just, scout. So I've had a bunch of times where I have had to put it on my calendar. I'm going to read like this. I'm going to read a chapter a night. I'm going to get through a book a week. I'm going to listen to these podcasts. I'm going to take this class. And so you may be saying to yourself, well, those are big things. Well, make it a bite size. There have been times where I've said to myself, I'm going to read this book 10 pages at the time every night. 10 pages is not too much for anybody to handle. That's less than 30 minutes of reading. So take the time, whatever it is that you want to get better at, take the time, break it down into little pieces, little bite-sized pieces, and make them games. Get excited when you do things right. My wife and I have this app called Streaks, and you just put in there kind of what are the things that you want to stack up. And and create, little goals for yourself. So one of the things that we have on our list, both of us, is we eat something green every day. So, you may say to yourself, well, you guys aren't healthy at all. Well, that may be the case, but we're trying to eat one thing that's green every day. Some people I know, and I'm not going to divulge on this podcast by any means, but some people have a cussing part of that app. So every day they don't cuss, they mark that, and they get a little bit of a streak going, and they feel really good about that. Some people have that on their Bible. My Bible app lets me know what days I miss opening my Bible app. I appreciate that. I like knowing that I'm meeting those standards. I'm making those connections every single day. So maybe you need to start breaking down the thing that you want to accomplish, the great, big, huge things. Now, there's going to be some dreams that you're just going to have to be patient for and hope the Lord opens the door. One of the dreams that we dreamed of early on in our marriage was that I would have a grand piano one day. Okay, I can't build that one piece at the time. God had to fling open a door. And today I have a grand piano in my living room. I'm so blessed by God to have it, but that's not really one of those things that I can incrementally get. But to prepare myself for the next level of leadership at my church, that is something that I can incrementally every day do a little bit of reading, a little bit of listening, a little bit of working toward that might make me ready. So those big dreams, do what you can to break them down into bite-sized chunks and then make sure that you don't miss a day. Last week I was in a class. I'm taking some classes to help serve our first responders in our community a little better. And they gave me this tool. This is not revolutionary. I doubt that it's perfection, but it was such a benefit to me to have this breakdown. They said, treat every conversation as if you only had 15 minutes. I love that. Oh, man, that helped me so much. That's tremendous. Okay, so I only get 15 minutes with this person. How would I construct my conversation? What are the 4 things every single day that you need to give 15 minutes to? Come on, right? Think about that. Just 15 minutes. That's not that big of a deal. You can break them up over the whole day. Some of you, that might just be a quarter of your lunch break. What is the 15-minute things that you want to get a little bit better at, that if you can put them in small chunks like that, you could see some great dividends over the years? Because I know this to be the case. People who are incrementally walking toward their dreams, they're the people who usually make it. And people who get to their dreams, that's a person that everyone needs.